It's awesome.
Good, huh?
Top notch.
Yeah.
Yep. Very, very good. Very impressed with it.
Got the number today. I think it'll go up to like 15,400 households, something like that.
Wow. That's gonna be quite an impact.
That's
Yeah,
public image, huh?
it is. It absolutely is.
And we're getting some extras made. I'm gonna give one to every club in the district.
Okay.
And give Susie some accolades in a cover letter kind of thing.
I like that.
And so, yeah, she did a great job. I thought.
Yeah, I knew she'd do an awesome job with layout and everything. I just wanted to make sure all the content in there was
No, that's
up to
cool.
snuff. So, yeah, and I appreciate her sharing her talents with the club in that way.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And then, so the bill's gonna be a little bit more than what we talked about.
Sure.
And if the club just said pay for it, so that's what we're gonna do. It's not huge. And the reason is because we got a quote in February.
Oh,
And things happen.
yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coordinating that project with her and bringing it up to the club as a concept and
Yeah.
moving the ball forward on that.
Yeah, I
really
think it's
appreciate it.
awesome.
Yeah, you're totally knocking it out of the park on club image and pretty much everything else you do for Rotary too. So
This is a good deal. Thank you.
my pleasure. Thank you. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Good.
Natalie. Oh, perfect. Hey, how are you? Hi, Aubrey. How are you today? Good. No, this is awesome.
Yeah, don't look at my toes because it's gonna comment. My mom. Follow me.
Sorry, I just want to let everybody know that our guest speaker today, Dana, has left discussion topics on our table, so we can have some group discussions before we start our meeting. So you'll see those handouts. There's some thoughtful questions that Dana posed for us to think about. So give some thought, have a discussion, and then we'll circle back when Dana takes the floor. Thank you all.
Like I know my. Yeah. They had, like, they must have had 2 bars, so we could, like, like, tiny. I remember, like, how about you? Your mom was really. For like 14 years. Telling you for like. Like, I know probably like, as like. On the board there, and they're looking for us out here. Yeah. Or, you know, as everybody is trying, it's hard right now, right? Yeah. 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 Right. Really packed them in. How are you? Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah.
And, sorry, just a reminder for everybody that our guest speaker today, Dana, did bring conversation topics at each table for small group discussion. So while you're enjoying your meal and visiting with your fellow Rotarians, feel free to talk about some of the things on our handout, and then we'll circle back during her presentation. Thank you. All right.
And our lives are like very, like, not in the same place at the same time, but like, you know, yeah. Everyone paused the movie, it's very fun. Yeah. That's my play. And I graduated from. Yeah.
Seems like.
Those are the points on. It's just like not be able to tell us experience. Right, that's why I don't get it referred as our leader with us. Right. It's just because people get to about what home means to them, yeah, right? What the ability that it brought or didn't bring. It's always weird, you know, they say, oh, I think it's around the block. Yeah, like, I have the same house, our parents are still in the same place. We kind of know the foundation. Okay,
Yeah. Are you? These films for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was almost thinking as a salad dressing. I thought steak was coming off as like a.
It's making soup.
Yeah. It's nice that they cater it for us.
Happy birthday, Aubrey. Thank you. Which day? Saturday. Happy birthday. Becomes your birthday week, and then your birthday.
That's a big deal. Are they gonna be taking? Like a water.
Oh, no.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rotary. Someday I will remember to turn off the remote when I put it away so batteries don't drain. Sorry, I don't have a remote for you today, but oh, you know what? Oh, okay, all right. Sorry about that. Oh. Well, we know what comes next, right? So today we're gonna do our pledge of allegiance and our four-way test. And I'm excited to share that we'll have a new member induction today, Teresa. So we will do that right after our virtue card reading and our blessing. So he's going to take care of our blessing today, and George will do the virtue card reading. After the new member induction, then we'll have club announcements, fellowship, a dad joke. I'm positive I'll have it working by then. And then Dana will be our guest speaker today. So, all right, so let's start out with the Pledge Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Isn't it true? Isn't it every law concerning political beneficial to all concerned? Okay, and I'm making my way back to Keith here through the maze of all our wonderful members. There you go.
Thank you, President. Today I have an Irish blessing given to me by our President. It says, may you be blessed with warmth in your home, love in your heart, peace in your soul, and joy in your life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Past President Murray Hanson exerted his influence and asked me to give this workshop today. I don't think he even consulted with our resident doctor, but I'm in the middle between those two guys. Here we go. Confidence is our virtue for the day. Confidence is having faith in ourselves and in life. We feel capable and confident. We trust that we have the strength to cope with whatever happens. Confidence helps us to be free of worry. When we are confident in others, we believe in them and rely on them. We build self-confidence as we learn from our mistakes and improve for the better. Confidence brings us strength to try new things, to gain mastery through practice. With confidence, we cast off self-limiting beliefs and doubts. We offer our gifts as a worthy contribution, an opportunity to come and step up to it. We just say yes. Do not therefore throw away your confidence, for it carries a great reward. The practice of confidence. I have the strength to face what life brings me. I act with self-assurance. I treat others as trustworthy. I bless my mistakes and learn from them. I patiently practice until I master something. I fully express my talents and ideas. I maintain a positive attitude. I'm thankful for the gift of confidence. It helps me to contribute fully and freely.
All right.
Thank you very much, George. And I'm not quite sure where we got that part from, but I bet it came from the bin in the back. There you go. All right, everybody may be seated. And so now let's go ahead and welcome our new member into our club, Teresa. And while that's being done, I'm gonna fix the computer. Okay, there you go, sir. Thank you. Fellow Rotarians, it is a joy to add new members to our club. This great club that we have here, so that we can continue to make a meaningful impact both locally and around the world. Today, we welcome Teresa Holden. You have been elected to membership in this club because your fellow members believe you to be a worthy representative of your profession, and also possess qualities that will allow you to demonstrate the true spirit of Rotary in your public, business, social, and private life. I wish to impress upon you that you have been admitted not only to this club here in Fairville, but to a global network. By virtue of membership in this club, you will be welcomed into the fellowship of the Rotary Club in the entire world. Rotary is a club where you can make lifelong, impactful connections both locally and across the globe. The honor and privilege of Rotary membership carries with it responsibilities, and these are meant to be honored. Attend club meetings and participate. Perform club service as a team that we serve our community and make it a better place to live. And place your knowledge and talents at the disposal of our club while we carry out the mission of Rotary, service above self. Overall, I think the big picture
just jump in and get involved. Coach Teresa, to the best of your ability, do you agree to carry out the Rotary ideal service of self? I'd ask all members to please rise. In the name of the Rotary Club of Faribault, I now formally induct you. to the club. Please welcome Teresa. You may be seated. And we have a four-way festival point that you can see in the pocket or around, which will remind you of the four-way test. We have a little rotary pin that you can wear to stir up discussions on what is rotary. Yep. And then we also have this beautiful. So one more time. Welcome. Thank you so much. Welcome, Teresa. Very excited to have you. So. Kurt, you're in your house. Help me. Stop it. But I didn't.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna keep it on for about 2 days.
Remember that later.
You figured it out already. Okay, so let's move into club announcements. Anybody have any club announcements they'd like to share? For instance, Dr. Houston, if you want to share about the mailer perhaps, I see you, or just have raise a hand, and Brenda and Dave. Okay.
I'm gonna sit down and do it, but, if anybody wants to come to the, Rotary District meeting, which is, I think, the 12th of this month, we're trying to put together transportation to get more funding. How many of you here are planning on coming? Anybody raise their hand?
We're considering it, George,
Who
Boxer.
was it?
Boxer considering going. We'll RSVP by Sunday,
You're taking care of it?
probably.
Okay, well, I don't have to say anything.
I mean, to everybody else who can, but.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing, up to this recently, Dick and I are the only ones coming to this. Yeah. And I think we have a good representation for that. And if there are people, I was there once, and I had a hard time seeing the bill. And if anybody is new or understanding, I was more than happy to pay for that, keep it anonymous, but, just come. So if you want to give me a phone call, try my cell phone, 323-5239, because we need to get as much attendance as we can in these things. And, that's my message today.
Thank you. All right, and Brenda.
All I wanted to say is that if you have your roast money, I'll take it. We need to get that bill paid.
Thank you so much, Mr. David.
I love that our virtue today was confidence, and I'm gonna give this announcement with a lot of confidence. This year, the work and your staff is gonna always kind of set up a day to do Salvation Army bell ringing. And this year, we're gonna do it a little bit different with a lot of confidence. The local Lions Club and I had a conversation about a friendly little competition on November 19th from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. We are going to be at we'll be at Hy-Vee, they'll be at Fairway, and we're gonna raise more money than them at that time. The winner, us, will receive $100 to our main community service. So I do have a sign up for that. Second, we do have our blood drive on this upcoming Monday. Thank you to Fourth Avenue Methodist Church and Greg Cheslock. We are sharing the space with his lovely soup luncheon that are later in the week. And so I put a couple extra spots for some extra setup and tear down because we are going to take care of the space nicely and show our appreciation for their them letting us use their fellowship hall. So I will send these two things around. Thank you. It is, yes. The blood drive is starting from at 1 o'clock and goes till 6. We're going to start doing the tear down tables around 11 if people are available. 2 hour sessions. Okay, great. Right, more the merrier too, and you see spots on there that and it doesn't use that it needs to be 2 or 3 people, more the merrier always.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, Keith. Here you are. Thank you. Okay, so we are on the home stretch of warmer community. We've made it this far. We bought clothing for about 187 students. So super short notice, but tomorrow night, 4 o'clock at Reliance Bank, we will be unpackaging and then sorting orders by student. So if anybody has time tomorrow at 4, please let me know, even as soon as right now. If anybody has time and they know they can do that, many hands make light work. It's been quite a bit to get here, so we've just got to get across the finish line now. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Keith. Any other club announcements? All right, so I'm going to turn it back over to David for fellowship.
Thank you, Kurt. All right, today I think there's gonna be a lot of things to be happy about. So I'd love to hear about some of your Halloween experiences, anything that you're thankful for November. Maybe this weather is gonna come up from time to time. First off, though, let's start with our guests. Today we have 2 guests. First, Jean, our exchange student, is here. Let's welcome Jean.
Hi, Jean.
And then we have my friend Kristen. You wrote down that you were RN, but I had to list it as HRN. We'll go over that later. We'll say hi to Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Any happy dollars here? Oh, okay. All right, Brenda.
Yep, so I just forgot to mention something, someone put in a couple bucks for. I have confidence. I need help with bingo. Anybody want to sign up, please do. I can use more than one on the days. So, yeah, confidence.
So are the times listed on there? There.
All right, one. First time around.
Anybody else at this table today? Did Rebecca think of any dollars to share with them?
Shoot the job.
Any last campaign?
Oh, I don't think I'm paying you on
it. Lynn?
This is real bad. I've been calling him Dennis. When Kurt said he was David, I thought, well, Kurt's wrong.
You want to name it sooner? Little information about that though, I'm totally used to that. My brother was identical to me. And we were twins, so the race that ladies growing up. Or we tell them that and so that. So I also answered to Dan as well.
Thanks, Drew. As the last 2 days, I've been with my son, and if you see me going like this, you'll know why, because it was the best 2 days ever.
So,
We want to thank this club for the support for my book talk last Thursday night. It went really well, and we just had some amazing questions and conversation. So this is for members who attended Kathy, Nate Cunningham, Dr. Houston. David Cochran. All right, did I get everybody? And 2 for Murray for doing such a great job with promotion. We're gonna hire him.
I'm sure he brought through the books too, you'd love to pick them up and stuff like that. I left at, I thought just engaged, my mind was running all the way to my home, because I see a lot of grit and the ability to do some of the things we're talking about in this community. So,
Okay, so I actually got some really exciting news about the things going on in my life right now. Biggest change, couple changes, my husband had a new remote position with no contractor. My mother-in-law was recently diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and liver form. She's located in Wisconsin, up there. And so that kind of leads us into me moving to Wisconsin.
Oh.
I'll still be with Riverbend, don't worry, it's gonna become remote. We're doing advertising and office management. So we're gonna try that out for a little while. We sold our house already in 12 hours. On Monday. It was not item, I guess. We had one showing, they wanted to get in Sunday evening before we listed. Couldn't do that. We had one showing Monday morning, we went live Monday morning at 5 that day. And then got it cashed off and we couldn't use. So it moved fast. And we're putting in an offer on the house today in Boomer. And hopefully will well. So we have confidence too, right? In my realtor that she'll get the job done. So that's a lot going on, and I just want to thank the club and everybody in the community, and don't know if I'll get a chance really to say something. It's been wonderful getting to know all of you. It's one thing that I really learned when I was here was building relationships, right? I gave my application to and I wasn't great at it. And so that was one thing that I really developed this year. And Greg said that I would have a breakthrough. And I did. I did have a breakthrough this year. And it was wonderful. So we all been great. We're on Riverbend, been great. And we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Well, let's see.
Something's great, representative of the community, too. Amazing, it's, you know.
Well, I just want to make an announcement that I have a new job for the next 3 Fridays, from 11 o'clock until 1 o'clock, selling tickets for the soup luncheon at 4th Avenue Methodist Church. There's, get as many bowls as you want. There's only 1 pie or 1 dessert, but it's fabulous, believe me. Be these next 3 Fridays, and coming up, gladly sell you a ticket to get in.
Right.
Just want to say ditto to that wonderful announcement. Thank you.
Were there times on that?
Yes, 11 to 1, 4th Avenue United Methodist.
All right, move back. Back. Thank you, sir.
I have been not able to attend a whole lot, so I'm happy to be back. But thank you all for doing a great job on the Rosedale, as far as being thankful for the weather. I'm thankful for the weather and thankful for the weather on Halloween, because we were out for like 3 hours. That's really nice not to come home. So,
But it- I mean, any other good words here? Anything in the back there? Ladies and gentlemen. You can mark.
Happy, but I'm broke.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's right there. Thank you for inviting me today. When I first talked to Vic, I said invited. But
So, I'd rather be in that position than it's somebody. But, today I'm gonna ask this in confidence. Our rescue 551 is what I do. I'm an executive director into animal rescue. Next weekend is our Poison Pet with Santa. We can have kids too, but it's a big final fundraiser for the year. So we are going to say confidence that we're going to have a good turnout. We light a fire, do a fire and stuff. Fun. So it's on Saturday and Sunday, November 12th to 13th, from 12 to 4. Vendors, popcorn, hot dogs, all kinds of fun, and pictures with Sarah. Enjoy. Thank you.
Very cool. That's gonna be great. All right. Here, Natalie.
Just take Natalie's spot.
Welcome to Teresa and good luck to Katie over at Bloomer. Those are my home stomping grounds. I'm in Colfax. I don't know if you've seen that little town. It's 50 miles away, but my folks still live there, Highway 40 and A. So maybe when Kurt and I go over there, we'll find you and have coffee. That would be lovely. I just want to recognize all the Rotarians and all the awesome work that we're doing in the community. Warm our community, 187 kids to get everything they need. And I don't know how that compares as far as previous years with numbers served, but to know that every kid's going to get everything that they need and not just maybe a worn out coat, but to get all brand new things from head to toe. That's such an impact. And those of us working on the levy, and that's huge, a huge lift for the community. So just want to recognize all of us for doing good stuff in the community. I feel like there's just this momentum. There's like a net of Rotary around the community, and we're lifting everybody up. So keep up the good work.
And let me know if I'm stealing your thunder. I'm warm our community a little bit, but
I have no thunder.
okay.
It's the team.
Great.
Thunder.
When you volunteer for that event in the past, one thing that you realize is like, we never had enough booths and nowhere close. So like the way we're doing it this year, that is huge. Toes matter too.
I just wanted to say thank you for our speaker. I've met her quite a few times and just kind of surprised her today. She asked what I was doing here. So, and Aubrey and I got to relive our parallel, but slightly different lives. But kind of the same. So.
Well,
To explain, we have lived in a lot of the same places, like places that like Sioux City, Iowa, and nobody like seriously wants to work there. Right, it's. And her parents used to be my neighbors.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, speaking of toes, $1 for weather that you can have toes out in November.
I'm sorry to the people in the background to come running with all of that was a shame. Halloween, this year my family celebrated it on Saturday night with a hayride, bonfire. Jean came over with our family, and I hope he had a good time. I mean, we hardly saw the kids for hours and running around playing in the dark. So anyway, and Monday was good. The weather was good. Yeah, Grace wore this fancy dress that normally as a mom I'd be like, well, you need to put like a long sleeve shirt under that, to go outside. She got to wear the dress without a coat over it.
So I'm gonna close, but I was thinking about this. I got $1 for Pete Kramer. Pete Kramer sponsored Pastor Kenny. So I got $1 for Pastor Kenny. Pastor Kenny sponsored Nate Cunningham and Carrie Pollard. So I got $1 for Carrie Pollard. And so here's another $1. And Carrie Pollard has not sponsored Summer Cunningham and Teresa Holt. This is how it works, folks. This is just awesome when you think about that. And all of these people I just mentioned have just provided a lot of service above self. So that's so good. Thanks, Keith. And then I've got $1 for my sport. So
I was in Bangkok and, I was gonna fly out the next morning. And we stopped at a tailor shop and I had a guy found a bolt cloth. And this guy measured me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. He delivered the sport coat to our hotel. And so Gene, I want to thank the people from Thailand for having such great skills. It was a great experience and I have a great product. So thank you.
Nice. George, last word?
No.
Hey.
Yeah, so a couple of things. This comment here is a perfect example of the power of one. One.
I'm getting that.
I want to. My hands on you. Yeah, but, one person can do an awful lot of good, in many, many ways. I just put an article in the paper about my Aunt Miriam. And, she is the beneficiary of the power of one. Her fourth grade teacher, took her to one side because she was dressed in flower sack clothes. And after about 1 or 2 times reciting to the class on topics that the teacher, after the report on, says we wasn't ready. And the teacher figured out what was happening, and it was observant, compassionate, and is my Aunt Miriam became a 5'2" giant. She was an incredible person. She decided at age 10 to become a teacher. And believe me, my mom and my Aunt Miriam were very influential in my life. So that's a big power of one. Anybody can do it. What I'm thankful for is I got my lawn not raked, but I have a little John Deere lawnmower that you put bags on the back of it. And I took about 50 bags of leaves off of my yard. And those things probably weigh 35, 40 pounds, 35 anyway, when you fill them. And I'm glad it's done. And not only that, when I do that, I wear old clothes. You guys came to us from working yards doing that. You probably would want to take a collection. But when I'm done doing that, I hate to go out there because it was so dusty. I looked like a ball of dirt when I got done with it. So I'm thankful that's done.
It's great. Mr. President, all right. Thank you so much, and I apologize, I haven't put an IOU on the top for next week. I wanted to thank the Warmer Community Committee. I know that's been a huge project, and it's so awesome to see all the students that we've been able to serve. Katie, we are gonna miss you. I know that there's no replacing what you have with us here because we're all unique, special individuals, but Bloomer has an awesome bakery, really great donuts, and there's a train museum in Colfax, so. Thanks to Natalie for taking Harper and I trick-or-treating with another friend of mine and his daughter, and also for saving me this morning because I had my favorite white shirt on today, one of my only white shirts that fits. And she pointed out there was stains on the sleeves, maybe coffee, I don't know, but she helped me find a solution of putting a sweater on underneath. So let me tell you, I'm looking, but I look good, and nobody can tell. Stains here, and I think what happened was mixing my whites with my colors in the washing machine finally popped up to me. Like I was living dangerously for a long time, just doing one separating, and now it's with that the chickens come home to roost. Okay, so Dan, Joe, this one is a submission from one of our members. How do you fix a broken jack-o'-lantern? Oh, with a bowling hat. Yeah, and that Dr. Houston. So thank you so much, Dr. Houston. Yeah, that's perfect layout. Dana, I've known her for quite some time, and I met Dana originally at a trainer for financial education up in the city. It was the first time that we met, and turned out that people from all over the state were there, but we found out that we were working in the same communities, and so she invited me to participate in the homeless Response Task Force for Rice County. And I think that's been 6 or maybe 7 years ago. So thrilled to know Dana, call her friend, and excited to hear from you today.
Great, thank you. If you want to, yeah, hand me that thing. I want to give greetings from Northfield Rotary. I've been a part of that club for, I think, over 10 years. And so, but this is really, I like that club. It's my home club, but this is really refreshing. It seems like there's a really great, nice, intentional community that's here. And so I can see why you're sad for having to move away from that, but it sounds like you're going to be held in the thoughts and prayers of this group, which is reassuring, isn't it? So my name is Stephen Norvold, and I have been the executive director with Rice County Habitat for 15 years, since 2007. So it's been a long time. Prior to that, I was a youth director in Lutheran churches. I was after college, I did Lutheran Volunteer Corps, then I was in Duluth, Minnesota, at First Lutheran Church, then I went to Bellingham, Washington, where the sun did not shine for the amount of time that I was there. And then came back, I was youth director in Northfield at St. Thomas Lutheran, and then the opportunity to be the director of Habitat came up. I was their first hired executive director, and they're only one, so they've been stuck with me for that amount of time. So today, what I thought I would do is talk about what is affordable housing. I want to get a shared understanding of what that is. Rental and ownership, what's happened in Faribault. We're going to do some math today. I'm going to do some math. I like doing some math. And then action steps. It may surprise you to know that Rice County is the 3rd most expensive place to live in Minnesota. This is from a Rice County housing study done in 2018. Even though it's 4 years old, I think it's still true. We are right behind Twin Cities and Rochester. 3rd most expensive place to live in the state. Surprise, good, because we get like reactions to things. I like that. Affordable housing 101. I want to just get a shared understanding of some of the dollar amounts. Every program in affordable housing is going to talk about area median income, AMI. And it's just a percentage of what our area median income is. So for Rice County, our median income is $100,600. So half the people make more, half the people make less. In order to qualify for different programs, maybe it's for some HUD housing, for Section 8, for down payment assistance, you typically have to be at a certain percentage of AMI. Some is 50%, so half of the median. What's becoming more and more common though is 80% of area median income. So just looking at the math here, 50% of area median income for a family of 4 is $48,000. For a family of 4 at 80% of area median income, it's $77,300. So it's that dollar amount that still is recognized as it's pretty hard to have a vibrant life, a house of your own, a rental that you can afford at that income. And so when I talk about our Habitat for Humanity programs, we have an upper limit of 80% of area median income. So we can go up to $77,000 for household income for a family of 4. More realistically though, we're closer to the 50%. We serve people at that 50% of area median income. This is super small print, and I will also say the packets that are on your tables have this all printed out. Sometimes people like to take that, and I encourage you, please take it, share it with a neighbor, share it with a friend, share it with colleagues, because this is some of the education that we really do want to get out into the community. These are the starting wages at some of the most growing occupations, jobs in our community. Restaurant servers, $10.33 was one that I looked at recently on a job posting. You'll see some that offer more, but maybe they don't get as many hours. Some of our direct service providers, I give an example of Laura Baker Services, which happens to be in Northfield. They, along with a lot of our Medicare folks at nursing homes and care centers, they're capped by what Medicare pays. So they're really at anywhere from $14, maybe up to $18. Some of the higher paying ones, like one is a post-production worker, they're just shy of $25 an hour. And RN at one of our care centers, they cap out at $29 an hour. So this chart just shows what their hourly wages, what their annual income is. And if they're the only income earner in their household, it shows you what 30% of that income would be for housing. It's considered standard in housing if you pay no more than 30% of your income on housing. If you're paying more than a third of your income on housing, it makes everything else really difficult. Transportation, education, and I see heads nodding. You know that if you're paying more than that, it becomes really difficult. Another thing to understand is fair market rent. This is produced by HUD, and they have said in Rice County, fair market rent for a 2-bedroom is $986. For a 3-bedroom, $1,337. Now, you'll see some apartments that are going for a lot more than that. You might see some that are going less than that. This is essentially a rate that can get reimbursed, like perhaps for Section 8, you can't pay more than that. I would also say you can probably find 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. It's really hard in all of Rice County to find 3- and 4-bedroom apartments. There's just not a lot of those available. I do note on here that the RN job is the only job that would provide for a 3-bedroom apartment. All those other jobs would only have incomes to support up to a 2-bedroom apartment. Minnesota Housing Partnership is a great organization in Minnesota that provides annually different research about each county. They drill down to a county level. And so they have shown through this chart that 27% of households, so more than a quarter of our households in Rice County, pay more than 30% of their income on housing. So we've got a quarter of our neighbors that are cost burdens, that are stressing out every month because they're paying too much of their income on housing. Our state senator, Tina Smith, has said without a safe, affordable place to live, nothing else in your life works, not your job, your health, your family, or your education. You can relate to that, right? That when your cost of housing is just too high, everything else becomes stressful. Minnesota has a terrible homeownership rate for people of color. And the Rice County Housing Study showed that here in Rice County, we've got a terrible rate too. I won't go through the whole chart here, but you can see at the very bottom, it shows if we were to have parity, meaning if the same percentage of our people of color own houses as do our white households, we would need to create 789 new home ownership opportunities. That's quite a bit. So this is just a chart to show we've got some work to do to close that gap. What is that gap? How many housing units does Minnesota need? Minnesota, according to what Minnesota Housing, our state housing agency, we need to develop 300,000 new housing units by 2030 with a focus on affordable. So when you see these new apartment buildings or maybe some new developments happening, it is all to try to close that gap that we haven't been building new units for the last decade, and it's catching up with us in a crisis way now. Here again, I won't go through this chart, but it's in for you to take home. Some of you, I would like to study numbers. This just shows how many housing units per year over the last decade we should have been building, what we have been building, and that's what's representing that gap that's there. Current building in Faribault. So Faribault and Northfield oftentimes run in parallel paths. There's been a lot of building of apartment buildings. Perhaps you will notice that there have been new buildings of new apartment buildings. Some of them have been supported by TIF, tax increment financing. How many of you have heard of that, TIF? I want to have just a shared understanding of what that means. TIF is basically, think about, and there's smarter people than me in this room that could tell you probably more about it, but as a general concept, here's TIF. You have a piece of land that currently is taxed at, let's say, $100,000 a year. If you build something new on it, that new tax amount might be $300,000 a year. That increase of the $200,000 is what's going to go to pay the TIF district back. So it's just how I think about it, and it can be structured in a variety of ways. But a developer may ask for TIF support, which is upfront financing to pay for the project. So it might be infrastructure, water, sewer, and roads. And then that increase, that 200,000, will help pay back that loan that they had to take out to make the project happen. It doesn't increase neighboring property taxes at that time. Our property taxes go up over time, because of the appreciation, and things just always seem to go up. But it doesn't have to do with that TIF district. Now, there's lots of other nuances to that, but that's just a big picture of that. When an apartment building is supported by TIF, there's a couple ways it can be structured, because there is also something they've got to do in return for getting that TIF. They've got to make a certain number of those units affordable. So sometimes it might be 40% of the new units being created has to be made affordable for people at 60% of area median income. That's why it's important to know that area median income, where that comes from. Or they can do 20% of the units being affordable to a lower income, to 50%. So it means that there's some affordable housing happening in those, it's just not all of those units. Does that make sense? It's super exciting, isn't it? All these numbers, exciting. So I just grabbed some screenshots, because here, you guys are building a lot of units. There's a lot of apartment rentals that have come online over the last couple of years, which again helps reduce that gap that the state has identified. This is Straight River Properties over by the Legion, 111 units, 1 and 2 bedroom units there. Take a look at the rent. The rent, a studio is $1,000, and this is just a screenshot from their website. If you want a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, the rent starts at $1,825. So even our RN isn't going to be able to afford that. And then you also have to pay gas, electric, and phone. Have those bills gone down over the last year or so? No, they haven't. Hillside Apartments across from the library and senior center, 44 units there. There too, the rent goes from $900 for a studio, a little bit better in price, $1,395 for 2 bedroom, 2 bath. None of those have more than 2 bedrooms in it. Those are 1 studio, 1 and 2 bedrooms. The lots at Evergreen Knoll, I think this one is TIF supported, and this one has 76 units. I don't know what the rent is there, and I don't have any insight into that. And then I have read that there is even more development plan by the Viaduct, 74 units, and then the Fairmont Middle School, 200 to 250 units. So there's going to be a lot of rental, which is good, because that can kind of ease up on the market. There's been a tight rental market lately. Yeah.
Just to let you know, even with those being built and 192 at the middle school, and then the ones at the farmer's seat, we're gonna be 400 to 500 units short after those are available.
Yeah, still gonna be short. Yeah. So when we get, sometimes people talk to me about, they get so like, can't we cross off the affordable housing now on our list because we've created it? No. We can't, because there's still a need. I think there's still a deeper need for even more affordable. I would like to see some more apartments available at $800-900 a month at 3 bedrooms. The math is hard on that. It's going to take some more support and collaboration on that. Those though are all rental. I now will move on to enter Rice County Habitat. We are all about home ownership. I believe that we need a continuum of housing. I think the rental is important. I get most excited though about home ownership. When you have home ownership, graduation rates increase, the health of children increases, net family wealth increases, generational poverty, we can make that go away if more home ownership opportunities were there. We also see decreases in children's behavioral problems, reliance on government assistance, and asthma, which seems like a very specific thing, but we've got a lot of rentals that have black mold in the bathrooms. Think about what that does to kids and the respiratory issues and adults. So home ownership, I just kind of talked about some of the benefits there and outlined it a little bit more there. Kurt, how much time do I have? What do I do? When will people start walking out?
So you have another 10 minutes.
Okay. Successful homeownership is beneficial too, because it does increase wealth. A lot of us have benefited from the wealth created from previous generations in their homeownership, right? Lots of that wealth has been passed down, particularly to white families. And so we want to ensure that people have access to that same wealth building tool that many of us benefited from.
Will you have time for questions?
Absolutely. Yeah, write it down. Write down your question. As of Monday, just this last Monday, I just did a search, and we've got realtors in the room that can, verify this, but I just did a search of homes in Faribault, that were available, 3 bedrooms, at least 3 bedrooms, and there were 250,000 or less. There were 13 houses on the market that fit that criteria. So these are just some pictures of those. I will say in Northfield, I did that same search. There were 0 houses on the market for less than 250. I had to go up to 300,000 and there were 4 houses on the market that had 3 bedrooms and it was under 300,000. So those are just some pictures. I want to drill in. Here's where we get to do a little bit more math. I'm super nerdy, but I love it. For no particular reason, I picked this house. Let's say we want to buy this house at 239,000. In a real world, with some products, you might have to put 20% down. 20% down on this house would be 47,000. How many of you just have that in your pocket? Certainly the folks that are coming to Habitat don't have that available. But let's just do away with that idea of having to have that money down. What I wanted to just illustrate in this slide is what rising interest rates are doing. So I just picked 6.89%. I think that's gonna change. I think the Fed's raising that another 2 quarters, compared to 4% that we had just like 6-8 months ago. What that does, the principal, you can see what the interest is on each of those. Taxes are $2,300 a year, and insurance, I just put it $100 a month. But you can see the principal and interest at a 4% interest rate is $1,100. But at just about 7, you're at $1,500. That means that same house months ago, a household at 45,000 could have gotten that house. But now with those interest rates rising, now we're just about 75,000. So it's becoming harder and harder for people with lower incomes to be able to enter the housing market. So why isn't more homeownership happening and new development happening for homeownership? What makes it so complicated? It's expensive. It's really expensive. Land is an issue, development costs, and sometimes codes. Now, I'm not a beater of the codes here in Rice County. I'm able to build single family houses and codes don't really get in my way. Other builders might say something different and that's valid, but for us, it hasn't been that big of an issue. Land is becoming more and more of an issue. Land is expensive and land that has infrastructure. If we think about vacant, just bare land, just that acquisition price, plus having to put in water, sewer, and roads, it becomes unaffordable really, really quick. When I started with Habitat 15 years ago, some of you might remember Bill Starter, who was around for many years. We could build a house, the same house we're building now, a 3-bedroom Rambler, not including the land. We could build that house for about $65,000 in cash construction. That same house today, again without the land, we're at about $210,000. So concrete, lumber, cost of subs, all of those things have gone up that much. So it becomes harder. I will also say the county is getting their toes in and trying to encourage homeownership options. This summer, they had a request for bids for any builder to do 6 houses over at a new safety center. And essentially, the land would be donated. The only caveat is you have to sell the end buyer, you can't sell the house for more than $349,000. That was a cap put in by Minnesota Housing. Great, I'll put in a proposal, we do that all day long. We were the only builder to submit a proposal. So that tells me it's really hard for-profit builders to try to build something and sell something and make a living for that price. So I think Habitat's fantastic. I think it even more that we are needed in our community because we're the only ones building and being able to offer something at these prices. I'm gonna skip through the facts, you can read through those, with the number of houses that we've built. I wanna show some pictures. This is a house that was in rural Faribault that, we tore down, but this was the condition of the house when we met the family. That bottom picture shows, water just seeping through, the ceiling. They raised their 2 kids in that house. The good thing is they own that land. We were able to tear that down and we built this new unit on there. Isn't it, imagine driving in, the difference that makes with the family. Habitat builds simple, decent, and affordable homes of all different sizes. We always select the family before we build the house, so we build to meet the need of the family. So we built that bottom right is a 1-bedroom, slab on grade, cutest little house that I think we've ever built. The next one is a 2-bedroom house. Then we did a 4-bedroom house. The one on the top left is a 6-bedroom house for a family of 11 people. Right, take a minute for that. Nine kids, mom and dad. It's a lot of laundry to do. This is just a picture of the inside of the house. Generally, we're about 1,100 to 1,200 finished square feet in these houses. In the booklet, if you take that, if you scan that QR code, you'll get to see a video of the inside of this 6-bedroom house. And then this is our future in Faribault. So this is north of town, Twin Lakes. We bought some land from Jeff Jandro. All of the lots in pink are habitats, and we're building on those. This is a drone shot of that, where we have the names. That's where we have already built houses. And that blue circle shows where we're building right now. So if you want confidence and if you want to just say yes to something, come on out to the build site. This weather has been perfect for us. So if you want to get some construction knowledge, come on out to the build site. We've got 5 houses under construction there. This is just a rendering of the house. This is the design of the house. The reason I'm showing you this is because we are also making an effort to do as much accessible housing as we can, meaning wheelchair accessible. And so we'll have 0-step entries either from the front door or the garage to get into the house. We're also putting laundry on the main level. We are also, when we have a second bathroom in the basement, on the first floor, we're putting a walk-in shower. And so that's just this age well at home, aging in place concept, so that just everything can be right on the main level. We have started a program called Aging in Place, which is really to help people who currently own their home stay in their home through some modifications for health and safety. The number 1 requested remodel that people are asking for is walk-in shower. Can you maybe get rid of my tub and put a walk-in shower? So we're doing that. We've done 3. We've got several online to do that. We've worked quite a bit with public health because they're out in our community learning the challenges that people have. But here we've got laundry on the main level there, which is great. So these are just other types of houses that we built. I'm happy to talk about this quad that we built in Northfield. What I like most about this quad, so that you can understand how much then a person is going to pay monthly for one of our habitat houses. Our families get financed with rural development. They come with a first mortgage. That first mortgage is based on what they can afford. And so we often come in with junior mortgages. So the whole house is secured for the entire value of the house. They only pay on that first mortgage. So for the quad and the 5 houses we did last year, we have monthly payments that go anywhere from $711 for home ownership, $711 up to $1,400, because that's what that household could afford. So most of those prices, monthly costs, which includes their interest on the loan, taxes, insurance, and a homeowners association fee, is still much less than what we saw in those earlier numbers, because we have support from cities and other down payment assistance. So to me, that's exciting that we can get home ownership for these folks for less than what it was costing them in rent. And so I will let you go through the other pictures in the packet, but answer any questions that you guys may have. Yeah.
Couple of comments. I built my first house with split equity in 1955, $10,000. It was 1,250 square feet with 3 bedrooms. During my earlier years, we lived in Chicago in a house that was on a 20 by 80-foot lot, that's 1,600 square feet. The bedrooms, we have closets bigger than them today.
Yeah.
Our expectations for what a house is today have dramatically changed. Now, I would say that we will never be able to build an affordable house for enough people because of the increasing cost of everything. Lumber's gone up, lots are off the wall, everything is high. And so I think we're the only way we're going to design houses that are going to be affordable is to have a pod. They could have like some of these townhouses or whatever it is. You have an equity in some of these well, like over in the unit over by the Kings Mill. You can buy into a unit. We could put into maybe a 3 or 4 pods, 3-bedroom pods with a central washing area and cut down the cost so that we have 4 families working over the utilities.
Sure. Yeah, I think what you're calling out, I think, are 2 things. One, I think expectations are higher, that people want the triple car garage, the basement that's finished. Habitat doesn't do that because of the cost that we did, and so we kind of reduced those expectations from the get-go. I would love to see other builders steal our plan. I love our build plan, steal our plan, start building smaller, really starter homes. I get it though, it's really hard for builders. They had a tough time in 2008. A lot of them are still recovering from that. And they don't have enough workers, right? They're crying out for people that know how to do stuff. The second thing I think is we do need to be more creative in how we solve things. And I think we need to start saying yes to some things that are creative that might not be traditional. But in order to follow, we've got to start saying yes to something. Other comments, yeah.
Why is Rice County so expensive?
I don't know if we think that there's gold under our land. I'm not exactly sure, but I do think that it has something to do with we are right in between Rochester and the Twin Cities. And I think that people are agreeing with that people choose to live here. We've got good quality of life, we've got good schools, amenities are really nice. It's not the hustle and bustle of Twin Cities. And maybe one spouse works in Rochester, the other works in Twin Cities. I think a variety of ways, but I think it's also people are willing to pay higher prices here. I looked at a property in Northfield that I know just sold, and I looked at what the person bought it for, and I was like, "What? You bought this house for like $700,000?" And it was a family from California. So I think for them it was, wow, that's a pretty good price. So I think there's lots of factors, but I think our location has a lot to do with that.
There's also, if you look at developers, it's a hard time for us to attract developers. Because if you have these apartment units, you build it in Lakeville, they can get much more rent than here.
Yep.
So we have to come with TIF incentives and other incentives. Unfortunately, like the developer that built across the senior center, he is the one who's now building by the viaduct, and he's happy to work with the city.
Yep.
It's hard to attract developers.
It's hard to attract them. And I think going forward, particularly for home ownership, it's gonna take partnerships. There's not gonna be one magic answer. Even Habitat, we're not the answer to all of it because we can build only so many houses, right? But it's gonna be a partnership among a variety of people. Guess what? It's harder to work with other partners. It's because you've got to get everyone moving in the same direction. But the director of Habitat International said the only thing worse than partnering is not partnering, because that leaves the need just completely unmet. So, yeah, well, I am happy to talk more about housing. I can talk about it all day long. But you guys have your day to get on with. So thanks very much.
I learned something new today. That was really a thought-provoking discussion. So thank you for joining us and for sending Northfield Rotary's regard. We sure helped you send hi.
Yeah, great.
So, all right, everybody, go out there, be kind. Oh, and a reminder, we're doing our best to fight our. So they're over there.
Like,